Hello, hello. I'm Chelsea, and welcome to my human design journey as a 4/6 splenic projector. I don't know what this podcast is going to turn into. I just feel called to do it. I think this will be an amazing way to capture this journey. While I'm about a month in to having learned about human design, a lot has happened in that month. I know that there's going to be so much more that happens in the future. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit to go back through that full month of everything that I've learned. But I think it would be amazing to be able to capture those things in the moment. So why not start now? No better time to start than now, right? Just to tell you a little bit more about my chart, I have two defined centers, my spleen and my root. They are connected through channel 28. What is that? 2838? They're connected through channel 2838. I don't have any fully open centers, but the rest of the other 7 are undefined. When I tell you learning about human design has literally changed my life, that is like the biggest understatement ever. So the way that I came across human design was I was introducing myself to a new podcast group that I had just joined. And as I was talking about all of the many things and projects that I had been working on and had kind of cooking in the background, somebody asked me, "Are you a manifesting generator?" And I was like, what the heck is that? So after the call, I was very interested in, I was like, what is this? What's a manifesting generator? I was like, it sounds great. I hope I am. And so I started Googling and reading about it, and I was like, yeah, this sounds a lot like me. And I got really attached to that label of like, yeah, I'm a manifesting generator. So I reached out to the woman who put me onto it, and I was like, yeah, manifesting generator sounds right. And she was like, well, did you pull your chart? And I was like, what do you mean? And then I learned that you find your type not through a quiz or just reading and seeing which resonates most with you, but by your birth chart. And I won't lie, when I first heard that, I was kind of turned off a little bit, because as much as I think astrology and things like that do in some ways resonate with me, I feel like I was coming through the lens of just astrology, and it just feels like it felt too generalized. So I was like, oh, it's just based on like astrology. I don't know about this, it's just like a snapshot of the sky at the time when I was born. At least that's how I was thinking of it. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. I wasn't convinced, I'll say. So I decided to do my birth chart, and it said I was a projector. And I was like, no, no, I don't think so. So then I put my birth chart in another site, and it said I was a projector. And I was like a little upset. And I was like, no, I'm a manifesting generator. I like really took on that label as my own. And I got so attached to it because it just felt really right for me. And I am somebody who just always has like a million ideas, and I'm jumping from one thing to the next to the next. And I just need like a lot of variety in my day. And I was like, yes, this is me. I'm a manifesting generator. So then I go to a third site, put in my birth chart or my information. And again, it was a projector. And I was like, okay, I guess I just have to embrace this. So then I start reading about projectors, and I read somewhere that a lot of projectors can mistake themselves or misidentify themselves as manifesting generators. And I just kind of laughed at myself because I just got so attached to this label. But then as I kept reading about projectors, I was like, oh no. I was like, this is me. And there was just this like sadness, I think, at first, because I was just like, ugh, like I don't want to be this person that like needs rest and can't keep up, and that like the world isn't designed for, and all this stuff. And then as I was like kind of going through all of these feelings, it just started to just make sense and feel right. And then the sadness was in kind of like, I wish that I had known this sooner, instead of spending my whole life being so hard on myself and just not understanding why. And like, why, when I'm doing the same thing, if not more, than all of these other people, they're getting these amazing results, and I'm like 20 steps behind. At least that's how it feels. And that's just kind of like a recurring theme of my life, is just like, I am doing everything, like, why is nothing really like sticking? Why is nothing really happening? Why am I so burnt out? Why is everybody else like still up and kicking and I'm over here just struggling? So I figured it out. I'm a projector. And I'm so influenced by my environment because of my openness. I have 7 undefined centers. And in all of those places, I learned, no wonder I'm exhausted all the time. No wonder I need so much rest. No wonder I'm so influenced by other people. Undefined head, undefined ajna, just like so influenced by other people's thoughts and opinions, and really struggling to like know who I am. Open G center. Who am I? Like my identity. Like I feel so differently around different people, and that felt wrong. It felt like I'm not, like I'm fake, but it's obviously, I know now it's not that. It's just like I'm just very adaptable. Open heart center, like feeling like I'm not good enough, or not open, undefined. Feeling like I'm not good enough, and just, always questioning like my efforts and everything. Open solar plexus, struggling with emotions, being around people with heightened emotions. I really take them on and I amplify them, and I feel them even more strongly than they do. And it's like, what is happening? Oh my goodness, it's crazy. Open sacral, feeling like I have to go, do more. I'm not keeping up. So let me keep doing more. Let me push myself. Open throat. Oh, the open throat. Communication. Feeling unheard. Feeling like I need to make myself louder to be heard. Feeling pressure to speak when I don't need to. When there's silence, when there's just a random urge to just say something, just to fill the space. Like, it's crazy how much all of this makes sense. I wish that I had known about this when I was a kid. And at the same time, it's so interesting to see how I've developed as a person, and how I have created these systems for myself to be able to navigate this world. Like all projectors, we all, until we know that we are projectors and know what that means, We're all doing that. We're all making it up as we go along so that we can fit the mold in some way of what the rest of society looks like. It's amazing. It's hard. It's hard to kind of sit with how much we've had to adapt ourselves and how much we've had to struggle and question and be hard on ourselves. But how amazing that we've been able to do it. Even like as kids, that's the thing that gets me, I think, is like as kids, being able to like have the skills to do that, it amazes me. So there's this part of me that is so like just amazed and proud of myself for how I've handled the world and life. And then there's this other part of me that's just filled with sadness and other kinds of emotions for just like empathy for myself. Human design has taught me how I learn, how I manifest things for myself. I always wondered why some of my friends can just kind of listen to a podcast or something and watch TV shows, and then suddenly they're like speaking a new language. And I'm like, how did you do that? And then I do the same thing for like 10 times as long, and I'm like nowhere near where they are. And I'm like, why doesn't any of this work for me? Well, I am an active learner. I need to really engage with, and I need to really work with whatever material that I'm learning to really have it sink in. I need to hear it. I need to see it. I need it to be visually appealing. I need charts and graphs and images. Like I need to absorb this information, whatever it is that I'm learning, in many different ways for it to really sink in. So, of course, it doesn't make sense for me to just listen to a podcast and then I'm speaking a language, a new language. I need immersion. I need visuals. And I had never been able to really pinpoint what it was that like I really need to learn things. And I've never been able to explain what works because it's complex. It's not like, oh, I just need to see it. Oh, I just need to listen to it. It's like, no, I need to like really interact with it. And I need to see it. And I need to hear it. And it helps if I teach it. Hence the podcast. So when I say human design has changed my life, I'm not lying. Like the learning piece alone is life-changing. The learning about my open centers alone is life-changing. Learning that I don't have an open sacral is life-changing. Or that I do have an open sacral is life-changing. I learned that when I manifest things, I need to be really, really specific about what it is, or it's just not going to happen. So I can't just say like, oh, I want to live somewhere warm. I need to say, I want to live in this town, maybe even in this house. And I need to get so specific about things. I can't just say, hey, I want to have passive income, and that's how I want to make a living. I need to say, I want to make passive income doing this thing. I want to make this much money and whatever. You know, like I need to be so specific. And it's so true. Before I learned this, that is a definite thing for me. If I look back, at my past manifestations and meditations and things like that. When I am too vague about things, it just doesn't happen. But when I get really specific, it's like, it happens like it's nothing. Sometimes. It depends on the thing. You know, if it's like a really big thing, it's going to take some time. But it is so true. I need to get really specific. Now, something I haven't really gone into too deep yet, which I know I need to, are all of the gates that I have and what they mean and how they affect me and things like that. I know 2838 is the channel of struggle. Sounds great. But I don't really know too much about what that actually means and how that affects me. So that is something that I think I'll start to dive into a little bit more. But ever since I learned about human design, I am absolutely obsessed. It is all I think about. It is almost all I talk about. I have told pretty much everybody that I know about human design, and I have pulled so many charts. I just want everybody to know who they are. Like, this has been such a life-changing experience for me. And I just want everybody to feel that themselves, you know? And I will say I have noticed a pattern. With one exception. Actually, no, two exceptions. Although, not even really. I don't know. Pretty much every single generator type that I've come across and done their chart with them, they just like don't care about human design. And it's just like, okay, and and it makes sense, I guess, because it's like, yeah, the world is designed for you, you know, like it makes sense. You make sense in the world. It's only the projectors, the one reflector in my life, who is my mom, and the manifestors, who really are like, I need to know more. Tell me more. Where do I find more information? How do I learn about this? This is amazing. I just think it's so funny how it's like the generators are like, oh, okay, cool. And then never ask another thing again, you know? But still, it's still important, you know, it's still important for generators to know their design, their type, their strategy, how they are an influence in the world, how they influence other people, how other people can influence them. I think it's really interesting. One of my projector friends has, I think, 5 defined centers. That's so many. 5 or 6. I'm like, how are you a projector? I mean, I know how, but it's like, it's so interesting how there's some projectors who are so open, and then there's some who are so defined, and it's like, how are we the same type? It's like, we're living different, I mean, we're all living different lives, but that's such a big difference to have 7 open versus 5 defined, 5 or 6 defined. That really surprised me. I thought all projectors had like 2, maybe 3. But it's crazy that like some generators and, well, manifestors can be pretty open, but it surprised me that generators could be so open. I know one generator that has, I think, 3 defined centers. And I was like, wow, so you probably experience the world more similar to me than this projector does in some ways. Obviously, the energy part The doing energy part would be different because they have the defined sacral and I don't. But in terms of taking on other people's emotions and thoughts and all these other things and all of these other centers that they have open, it's just so interesting that I could feel more similar to a generator than a fellow projector. That really, really surprised me. But yes, so whenever anybody asks me what I've been up to, I'm like, oh, human design. I've been learning about human design and I'm obsessed with it. Can we talk about it? And a lot of people, everybody so far has seemed interested in learning about it. Although I do notice that just like I was very skeptical at first, because it's based on just your birth chart, I've noticed that in other people too. But once you kind of get into the details of everything and it's like, oh yeah, this sounds like exactly like me. This is kind of crazy. It's really spooky, honestly, how accurate it is. And when I do other people's readings, like quote unquote readings, I'm not qualified in any way to do like a professional reading, but I know enough to just give like a little generalization, and those generalizations tend to be like spot on. And I just think it's really cool and really interesting, and I want to know for friends, family members, partners, whoever it is, I want to know who you are and how we fit together and what's right for you. Are you a generator and I should be asking you yes, no questions, helping you kind of hone that generator, like intuition, instinct, whatever that is. And if you're a manifester, should I be aware of your the way that you work, your independence, and things like that? And I just want to know how to be a good friend, partner, family member, and just have that awareness. So even if the other person isn't that interested in human design, at least I can know who they are on my end, so that I can know how to be there, how to interact, and what to look out for, and things like that. So human design is amazing. And I heard somebody say this. I don't remember who. I think it might have been Amy on the Projector Movement podcast, where she was saying, I have taken so many quizzes in my life to try to figure out who I am. And as soon as I found human design, I just stopped looking. I stopped searching. And that resonates with me so much because I feel the same way. Like, I feel like I've always been kind of searching for like who I am, and nothing has really felt right, and nothing has really answered these questions that I've had or didn't even know how to ask. And then here comes human design, and I just feel so seen in that. And I feel the same way, where it's like I don't feel that need anymore to be searching. Like the Myers-Briggs tests and the Enneagram and like those things, like they don't resonate with me really. But human design is like next level, And I just, like I said, I feel so seen in human design. And it is just really helped me have compassion for myself, have patience with myself. And the more that I accept who I am and what I need, just the easier it is to just be, and to just live. Especially with the rest part. Like, I always felt like I needed to earn rest, but it's the opposite. It's like I need to rest to be able to do the things. It's not like I have to do all the things and then I can rest. It's like, no, it's kind of the opposite. It's like, no, you just like give yourself some time to just chill and do nothing and be okay with it. Don't beat yourself up the whole time that you're just like sitting on the couch and calling yourself lazy and all these things. Just do it. Just rest. And then you'll get the little burst of energy, and then you can do a couple of things and then rest again. Then you get another burst and you do a few more things. And then, it's like, that's the way to do it. Not to burn yourself out and then rest, and rest because you're exhausted, or rest a little bit, but then you're like being hard on yourself the whole time. Like, that's not it. That's not helping anybody. And it doesn't feel good. What's the point in resting if you're just gonna be hard on yourself the whole time? And again, knowing your design and having, I don't know if it's necessarily science. I think in some ways maybe, but having a system to fall back on to say, no, this is who I am. So if somebody is questioning, like, you seem kind of lazy right now, it's like, no, actually, this is my design. This is what I'm meant to do. And just having a little bit of like backup in some way to be like, no, I'm not being lazy. Like, I'm just not like you. It's just reassuring, and I don't know, it's just really helped me just give myself grace and patience and not be so hard on myself. So I think I'm going to end this here. I'm assuming if you are listening to this that you are familiar with human design. Maybe you're even a projector. If you're not, highly recommend that you look into your human design. Find out who you are. Find out who your friends, family, partner. Find out who everybody is. Your work friends, employees, bosses. It is literally life-changing. Thank you so much for listening. I feel like we should end with a breath. So if you would join me in taking a big breath in. And let that breath out. Let's do one more. Let's breathe in. And breathe out. I feel like I've been calm this whole time, but that just like took me to a new level of calm. Normally when I would record things like this, I would be facing a wall staring at a computer screen. However, since I'm just talking, I have my feet kicked up on the windowsill and I'm looking out to the backyard and watching the squirrels run around trying to prepare for winter. So I'm doing the projector thing by taking in my nature when I can. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.